tonight I'm going to challenge you to bring bread and water. I'm going to be blessing the bread and the water. So bring that tonight for the healing of your physical bodies, and even certain ones of you who are having mental struggles. The enemy's been working on your mind. God's going to give you victory tonight. Amen?
Amen.
Also, we are tallying. I'm going to give the book to the person that brings the most visitors from this week. I think we're going to tally it up tonight. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. Amen. I want you to go to Hosea chapter number 14. Hosea chapter number 14. And the verses 1 through 5. And it just makes sense to look at John 3 and read verses 16 and 17. So we'll rush to Hosea 14, 1 through 5. And then we'll look at John 3 and 16. In Hosea, God seems to have this proclivity to the children of Israel, wherewith he desires to have a relationship with them, in spite of how Israel treats God. And so there is a beckoning, and he says, O Israel, return unto the Lord thy God. This is Hosea speaking on the behalf of God. For thou hast fallen by thine iniquity. Take with you words and turn to the Lord. Say unto him. And that's interesting, because the words that God desires to hear, he tells Israel what to say. Take away all iniquity and receive us graciously. So will we render the calves of our lips. As sure will not save us, and we will not ride upon horses, neither will we say any more to the work of our hands, ye are gods. And so God is saying, what I'm going to do for you, you could not do for yourself. For in thee the fatherless findeth mercy. God then says, I will heal their backsliding, I will love them freely, for mine anger is turned away from him. I will be as the dew unto Israel, he shall grow as the lily and cast forth his roots as Lebanon. In John 3 and 16, it's as if we are seeing the declaration in Hosea 14 manifest in John 3 and 16 through 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have an everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. And so God seems to be dominated by his love for his children, as if he is driven by his affection, driven by his passion, driven by his desire to have a relationship with us. I want you to look at somebody and say with me, he is is under the influence.
He's under the influence.
You didn't say it good enough. Tell them God is under the influence. You would have to focus on the pattern in which God seems to have taken to have relationship with you and I. The question then has to be raised, what is it about me that God would be willing to make ultimate sacrifice just to know me more personally? It raises the concern of philosophical doctrine. And when we speak of philosophical doctrine, we are speaking of doctrines that are put in place not necessarily by God, but by the leadership of an organization or denomination, reformation, by a church or some sort of gathering. And the philosophical ideal that questions the love of God seems to raise some sort of difficulty as it relates to understanding the love of God. Because we hear things like, if you don't come, then the Lord won't receive. Or we hear things like, you can offend the Lord and cause him not to desire. The question that I would ask is, if there's anything that I can do that would cause the Lord not to desire to have a relationship with me, then why would he be willing to sacrifice his only begotten Son? It would raise the thought that whenever God chooses an individual, he does not choose you to lose you, but he chooses you to use you. And he becomes obligated to his choice because the blood of his only begotten has been spilled or shed for us. When you deal with the only begotten, the word is actually the monogene, and it would describe Jesus as the only one of his kind. The only one of his kind in the world, as God moving in the flesh, becoming the scapegoat or becoming the perpetuation for our sin. It is an act of God putting the creature that is dysfunctional, the creature that is disobedient, the creature that is operating in degradation, dilapidation, and total conflict, the rebellious creature in the mind of God seems to have so much significance that God would put his own Son on the cross just to have a relationship with you and with me. It forces you to wonder, what is it about me? Is there something that I have done, or could it be that God is intoxicated? Could it be that God is addicted, that he has a proclivity and this inability to disregard his desire to have relationship with us? He has this fetish this thing that moves him in the dark, that convinces him to be sensitive. What kind of love is this? Because the creature is made subject to vanity, which means the nature of the creature is to go contrary to the will of God and to ignore his warnings. I don't know about you, but I have ignored his warnings. I have been disobedient to God when I knew what his will was for my life. And at the end of my disobedience, I got myself into trouble. And it's interesting that once I get into trouble, I look to God to bring me out of trouble. And what amazes me is that no matter how difficult the trouble and how many times I got into trouble, he was right there to bring me out and to encourage me in spite of me. It leads you to desire him. I love the Lord because he first loved me. I did not know the Lord. I was ignorant to who he was, but I experienced the love of God before I knew the God of love.
Amen.
He loved me in spite of me. Yes, just look at your neighbors there. I have something else. I have something else. He loved me in spite of my nature, and the nature has to be introduced, and the nature, it is always psychological, because the actions of your physicality are only the reactions of your thought. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So what I do and what I perform, how I operate, is the response to what's going on in my mind. You don't necessarily have to hear what people say to know who they are, but their actions will reveal to you what's going on in their mind. We were sinners, born into sin, shapen in iniquity, and totally opposite from the will of God and the ordinance of God. The nature, it forced us to go contrary to God. We were not just in rebellion, but we were subject or subjugated, captured by a mentality that was an enemy to God. The scripture calls it enmity. It says that the flesh is enmity towards God. And the word enmity means it hates God, but it hates God because it cannot cooperate with the will of God, because its very mentality is to do what God does not want it to do. It can never be saved. The flesh can never be saved. That's why it has already been judged. From dust thou art, to dust thou shalt return. And this mortal, the flesh, will put on immortality, and we shall then become like him. So if I'm going to make it, God has to be able to look at me and accept me and help me to handle me. You see, my greatest enemy is not the devil. Oh yes, he's on the list, but he's not at the top of the list. The greatest enemy to me is me. Oh yes, it's easy for me, if you notice, it's easy for me to tell you how to come out. I can move in the anointing and I can tell you, don't you do that. You need to resist temptation, when you're going through the struggle, I can look at you and say, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. But when the enemy is moving against me, when he is pushing my buttons, I now have to argue with my thinking. And I've got to try and convince me when I want something to say no to myself. Now, it's easy for me to tell you no, but it's not as easy for me to tell me no when I desire what the enemy is offering. I got some work to do here, I can see it. I'm in the middle of a conflict, and the conflict is with myself because I am producing a nature that is contrary to God, and the root of the nature is how I think. It is enmity toward God, which literally means that the mind is diseased, it's infected, it is poisoned, and it's not a disease that I went after, but it is genealogical. I was born with the mentality to conflict God. I am diseased in my thinking. When I look at this, I thought about William Shakespeare, and he said, and I quote, "Can thou minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet or piteous antidote, cleanse from the stuffed bosom of that perilous matter which weighs upon the heart," unquote. What he's actually saying is there anybody that can handle a human being that seems to be drawn to the negative? Is there anybody that can handle me? I don't want to mess with you, but you know you. And the question is there anybody that can handle my attitude, that can handle my disposition, that can handle the way I move? Is there anybody that can handle my Leviticus seductive drive? Is there anybody that can deal with the way I handle people? Is there anybody that can curve my emotional thrust and be there for me when I can't be there for myself? Is there anybody that can pull me out when I don't want to come out? That is the question that is laid before us today. Is there anybody that can deliver me from myself? Just look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, if I'm going to come out, I need somebody that's not only stronger than I am, but I need somebody who can look beyond my faults and see my needs. And if you can't do it, leave me alone. If you can't handle me, just pray for me. It's the reality of my thinking that forces me to investigate how God operates with me as a delivered individual, as a child who has come into the faith. Well, the way God handles me is by operating within the confines of a method which he himself has established. The word here in the Greek, it is methodia, and it's a particular form or procedure for accomplishing or approaching something by utilizing a systematic or established state of principle, which means when God puts in spite of how the method in which he puts in place seems to be so in disarray with whom he chooses. That simply means that he has to first speak. And once he speaks, he then obligates himself to his word. His word has to become more important than the person that he spoke the word over. So no matter what the person does, no matter how the person operates, he has to be faithful to his word, which means that God looks at delivering you as if it's his responsibility. He looks at delivering you as if he's obligated to do it. And the way he justifies this is by his love. I feel the ramifications. Lift up your hands. Shout hallelujah. He has to be faithful to his declaration, because it is his word that becomes his obligation. And his word, it will dominate your action until he brings you to the place that you now have victory over yourself. You see, he didn't come to give you victory over your situation. He came to give you victory over yourself. Because if you can get victory over you, then he doesn't have to give you victory over your situation. You can do that for yourself. Oh God, it's about me. He is working on me. So his method is to be faithful to his word. So if that is the case, God has to calculate his approach to me, reasoning both intellectually and sympathetically, and that although man is spiritual, he is also physical. He has to accept the fact that if I am physical, then the flesh, it is contrary to the will of God. Because he is physical, he will have to fight in order to do my will. He will have to fight in order to subject himself to what I desire for him to do. I want to talk to you. Is serving God easy? Or do you have to fight with your flesh just to do the will of God? Did you have to convince yourself this morning to get out of the bed? You knew you needed to be at church, but you just didn't feel like getting up to come to church. You know, Bible study is one day out of